Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Hey, Jeb, what's going on? How are you, brother? Did you get some sleep? Oh, excuse me, I'm still stuffed up. This is crazy, this cold. Hey, Kevin. Timmy, what's going on? Hey, Ronan. Hey, front runner, how you doing, man? Sluggish data. Hey, Jag, how you doing? Attila, what's up? Morning, folks on YouTube. I've been caught short? No, I haven't even traded today. Oh, what's up, everyone? How you doing? Oh. No, the green candle wasn't me, my friend. I was too busy coughing up a lung since you were giving me shit for being late. Yeah, I was blowing my nose and coughing up a lung. I have the flu. So, there. That should fix your little red wagon. What's up, Alexander? Hey, Hex. What's going on? Little stop run up there. Overnight inventory was short. Not a problem, yeah. Not a problem. Overnight inventory was short. Most of the trading was underneath the close. And I kept telling people, you know, the problem with shorting a market when it's at all-time highs is there's nobody up here to sell into it, right? There's no cost basis above 70.30. So we finally took out 70.30 and came back in on a retrace. That 70.13 level is that's where if you're a short seller, say we open here, we do a look above and fail of the previous day high, right? If we do a look above and fail of the previous day high, look for bids at 13, right? Overnight inventory is still short, my brother. It's still underneath the previous day's close. Just this is above the close. There's this and this. So if you actually did the calculation, right? Overnight inventory is long on a half hour time frame, but the session inventory is short. That's why you're finding bids here, right? If it was long, we would be down underneath the overnight low already, right? Hey Kevin, how you doing? So that's what we're looking for. Like you're right, but you just zigged when you should have zagged because the session inventory is short, but the shorter time frame, like the half hour, 15 minute, that kind of time frame is long because we are above cost basis, right? We're above the close. So, how do we trade this now? Well, if we get accepted above yesterday's close, your target is 70.30. We might do another look above and fail of 70.30 and come back in. It's all dependent on the order flow, right? We're at Tuesday already, right? And, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, the best way to deal with this kind of trading, see, I left the green line here where the stops were taken. That's where everybody's short under that 7014. So you'll see that, X period came right down to the halfway point. The point of control of yesterday is here. So now the people who are still long here get to sell their product here. And the people who are long here can get rid of their product there. So let's see what happens when it opens. I'm going to grab where is the, so by cost basis, now this is the problem. By cost basis was only 3 points. Double it to 15, and we double it again. So now we're going to go into 4 times. And you'll see this is really simple. The reason why we do this cost basis is we understand where the market is pricing inventory. That's what you guys need to know. Where is the market pricing its inventory? Once you understand where pricing inventory occurs, then you're not going to be shorting the bottom and buying the top, right? So AO actually came up, like he said a good thing. He said inventory is long, and he's right. Shorter term inventory is long. The session inventory itself is short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times cost basis takes up to 70.51. Ugh. And as you can see, I haven't done my levels between 70, 61, 75. Whoop. So I got to do those. They're basically 10 points, right? The zones are basically 10 points. So I'll get working on that. Who knew you were going to be at all-time highs at the beginning of the year, right? I've been I've been sick and lazy, so I apologize for that. Alrighty. We came back down, tagged VWAP. The position's underneath us, ladies and gentlemen. Right? As my client, the Penguin, would say, every time we'd look at a stock, I'd go, oh, these guys are going to take this thing. They say they're going to take it to $5. And he'd go, can we get some position at 10, 20 cents? Right? Can we get some position? The lower the cost basis, the better. Right? The cost basis principle is the same idea on a 1 minute. Exactly. You can see multiple on a 1 minute chart. Hey, Jab, the way this thing's going, the way this thing is, the way this market is structured, right? Look at the average daily volume of all the large stocks. They are less than 1% of the float. The float is owned and locked up and basically monopolized, stored away, or you guys are familiar with the term hoarding? Well, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, they're hoarding Apple, Microsoft, not Yahoo. Whoa, there's a little flashback to the 1990s, Yahoo? Is Yahoo still public? I have no idea. You can use the time and sales. Here's the thing. No. Looking at time and sales doesn't bias you as long as you recognize your bias. Check this out. See, in the old days, when we used to take horse and buggy to work, we just had the bid and the ask and the price, right? So when you see the ask moving higher, say if you were long 70.22 and now it's offered under 22, then you know that there's sellers, right? But if it's offered above and moves up, right, You can also filter that out. But let me tell you something, Fred. Right? Stay with me. This is basically this in a graphical form. So all you have to do is watch the offer, and if you train your eye to watch the offer, you'll find that you don't have to use the time and sales, right? Watch the offer. You see the offer was up here and then moved here and then moved here. So if you're a short seller and that offer is moving higher, you see how the red line's moving higher? That means the sellers have seen buyers, right? So you don't have to worry about the time and sales and screw around with it that much. Just know that the candle chart is a visual representation of the time and sales. So it's actually helpful for you. Now, some people still use the tape. I don't anymore. Uh, the tape, the time and sales is useful in stock trading, but then again, it's not necessarily really if you just watch the offer, right? I mean, if you're working out a large position, then I'd be watching the time and sales. Like, say you're moving a 500,000 share lot, right? And you want to see if the competing sellers are selling from offshore or where their order flow is coming from. The time and sales in a stock will tell you a lot more. It'll tell you if the market maker is price improving, if the market maker is backfilling, if the market maker is backfilling with a give up, whether the orders are electronically inputted or manually inputted. Everything's almost electronic now, right? All of those things which you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, but you don't really need them to trade. That's the good thing, right? It's up to you, Fred. I'm not going to poo-poo looking at the time and sales. If you want to, go with it. Most folks like a chart because they can visually see when the offer is moving higher and lower, right? It's not like an argument which is better. It's what your eye prefers. If you're doing well looking at the time of sales, just keep going with that. Don't let me influence you. But most people get very confused when they're looking at the tape, right? This way the chart's a little bit simpler. It's a bit more visual. Hey, some people like charts, some people like numbers. It's up to you, right? Excuse me. If you hear me mute, it's because I'm coughing. Ooh. Yeah, whatever floats your boat, right? I know a lot of old traders who still use the tape because that's what we've been conditioned to do. I like to, I'm getting old, Fred, so I like to look at the least amount of stuff possible to make a good decision, right? I really, because I've kind of gone through the mill with this stuff since 2012, retail trading. I've been in the business for so long, 34 years now. Um, you know, I like simplicity, and that's what I teach. But yeah, hey Maddox, how you doing? Yeah, this flu is starting to dry up now. Ugh. Took a while. Yeah, I mean, Alexander, you're right. You know, it's really because people look at things differently. Some people analyze information in one way and another. So whatever helps, right? Yeah, watching the ask is really all you need to look at on the time and sales. Yeah, there should be no shaming people in trading. Here's the thing. I'll joke around and stuff like that when people ask about crazy indicators and stuff. But I mean, I don't have the intention to make people feel bad, but shaming people into learning and charging them, that's not a good thing. Because we all start at the same place, right, Ed? We all start not knowing anything. I've never seen anybody, be a trading virtuoso. Like take somebody, put them in front of a screen, other than in that that movie Limitless, where Bradley Cooper takes the pill and he's like this awesome trader, right? But I've never seen anybody do that. I've heard of people sit down in front of a piano and be able to play Beethoven. I've heard of people pick up a violin and be a virtuoso, but I've never seen it in trading. We all start at the same place. Yeah, we want to see where the sellers are. Like right now, the sellers, they were here under 24, and now they saw buyers, so they're raising price. The next place they're going to sell is here, up here at 25 half, right? We are in distribution. Yeah, exactly. Seller at 25. There you go. Right? Which is just around, it's in the neighborhood of that previous day high. Right? Now, here's the problem with being a short seller in this market. All of the inventory, right? If we get over yesterday's high, all of the inventory for the entire S&P is underneath us, which creates a problem because a lot of traders aren't going to sell unless you give them a reason to sell, right? On the daily, we're over 70.14. Let's go look at silver. Oh, look at silver. Good grief. I'm sure somewhere the Hunt brothers are smiling. SPY over 696. Let's see if we can hold 696.35 on SPY going into the day. NASDAQ. You can see where they're selling on NASDAQ. You know, you can see where the sellers are. So if we stay over 25,734, we're looking at 26,124.50, and then we'll be over. Hang on a second. Right, so NASDAQ needs to clear this inventory. Once it gets this inventory underneath, then this is where your sellers will be. Right? You're on the limitless drug, but it's not working? Well, you got to get your money back, brother. Okay, now if we open over yesterday's high, it's going to be on a gap. Where's Raj? You can always blame Raj if we open on a gap. Uh, Everybody does see the chart differently. You're right, Ed. There you are, Raj. Another gap. Oh, this market and its gaps. Yes, single prints below us. Thank you for pointing that out. There's single prints here. Like I said, I'm a little slow on the uptake, as my mother would say. So that's where your short position is. 70, 17 half to 14 quarter. That means this area here are full of bids. Right? So there will be bids in the box. Right? The short sellers who are using 14 as their reference when the market comes down, they're all going to be clamoring to buy. Let's see if we can continue that creep above yesterday's high. Thank you, R. Croy. This flu is finally drying up. It's taken a whole week. I can't believe it. Oh, excuse me. So, are we going to open on a gap or not? Oh. And if we open on a gap, do we fill it? That huge 1 minute candle, you know what it means to me? It means the news came out, somebody dropped a big buy order, and the order book just scattered. All the offers in the order book, all the sellers, just, pew, as they say in Liverpool, they legged it. Thanks, Anne Marie. How you doing? So what happens is when you drop a big order, Herbie, when you drop a big order in a market where these algos run, they can they can put orders in and take orders out of the order book so quickly, like microseconds, milliseconds, whatever the time frame is, right? When that happens, when a big order, it's like dropping a big rock in a small pond, right? You could almost visualize all the offers. Anyone who's a seller will cancel their sell orders at the price because they see a big buy order coming, and the order book will thin out like when you turn on the light in a New York City apartment, all the cockroaches just scatter. So that's what causes these big candles, right? And then they sell into it, and they sell it back down to VWAP, back up, right? That generally happens when news comes out. Huh, my X is down. Weird. Try reloading. Okay. So how do we trade this? How do we trade this? Look at this. See these candles just creeping higher, right? Creeping higher. And we're right at the 4 times cost basis area. So the order flow when we open is going to be everything. Hey, Marky, how you doing? Is it a long weekend this weekend? Is Monday a holiday? Ah, okay. Ah, nanoseconds. Nice. The shortest in and out going to the exchange was 7 nanoseconds. That's very cool. Well, that's a hell of a lot faster than I can put an order in and take it out. That's why I don't try and trade the news, right? Because the 0 and 1 mafia. Ooh, good. We got a sell order. Look above and fail of 27. So if you're short, I got distracted with the nanoseconds. If you are short and you put, like, say, a 70, 20, and three-quarter bid in, and if it gets filled, you can stay short down to 18. And that's how you use the levels. Yeah, so Monday is a holiday. Okay, cool. Tomorrow, folks. Hey, Tim. Not in the UK, but yes. Tomorrow, we'll have our price action lab at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. execution lab, price action lab, how to be a dirty, rotten scoundrel lab, whatever you guys want to call it. What do you think about the Supreme Court decision tomorrow on tariffs? Dear God, Attila, I have no clue, brother. Right? I have no clue. I have no idea what the decisions was going to be or how the markets are going to react. See, if they fill that 20 and three-quarter bid, I know you could bid 18 and a half, 18 and a quarter, see if you get a fill. If you fill the 18s, we're going to drop back down to VWAP, which is good because we really don't need to open out a gap, right? So I have no idea what the Supreme Court decision will do. That's why, Attila, I've got to trust the chart. Because I don't know. I'm not a macro trader, and the type of trading we do is solely reliant on the chart. If you trust the chart, it will tell you what people are doing, where the order flow is coming in. Like right now, we did a look above and fail of 27, right? And we're opening down here. Let's see if we fill those single prints. So there's some bids down here, right? Right at yesterday's cost basis. So if you are looking for a long, right? And you're long from the single prints, right? Your stop will probably be 16. And you're looking for that offer to move higher, right? If you're not sure, that's okay. Just wait and let the next candle open. You don't have to trade the first minute, right? So if you buy a few at 19, 19 and a quarter, sell them. Like I bought a few at 19, right? And I'm selling them at 20 and three quarter, right? I got two left. I got one left, and I'm out my last contract at 21 and a half. Okay, so I saw the bids, I went long, I saw the shorts holding the market up. Very simple, right? That's a fail to look below, right? You could see that the bids were here between VWAP and the bottom of that candle, right? I said there would be bids here, but I'm not looking for a huge trade. I'll buy a few and sell a few. Make a little bit of money, now I'll chill. It's the first trade I've taken all day. See how there's a seller here? So we know that the sellers are at 22. Now let's see if we can fill those single prints, right? We know they're going to be bids down here where that 14 stop is. Yeah, the speed of trading these days is like, it's scary fast. I mean, what was that movie, The Hummingbird Project? Project Hummingbird? You know, co-locating the servers and all that stuff. That's why we only trade at certain times. We don't like to trade the news in this room. I don't find it useful. There's always decent trades after a news event. See how it's chopping around here? I'll wait for the next candle to see. If we accept under 15, right, what we're doing here is we're going to try and find the bid. See, and we did find a bit of a bid here. No, we can't get under 15. So it's going to rotate back up to 22. Boom, there's that 22 seller. Right? Next seller is going to be just under 24 if we can clear the 22s. Trading the news is a fool's game, right, Ed? It's just, they suck people in. It's like shiny object, jump in, boom, they take your money. Right? It's not cool. Right? So we got sellers at 22. Let's see if we can break VWAP now. Yeah, there's no way you're going to be able to outtrade an algorithm and these data centers and servers and everything. Yeah, just leave that to the high rollers, right? Excuse me. Sellers now at 21. Offers lifting. Let's see if we can clear the 21s. Yeah, there's a 21.5 print. That 22 seller is still there. It's not one seller, it's a group of sellers. Let's see if we can clear that out. Don't see a short just yet. I could be wrong. Okay, that seller is still there. Now, if you're a fast trader, you can short 21 and cover 18, right? But you got to be fast, and your stop is going to be like 22, 22 and a half, right? I'm not fast enough for that today, unfortunately. Margins are restored. Okay, that's good. Let's see if we can take that over 22. So if you were watching the time and sales, you'd see the offer, right? Ah, I would wait. I don't like buying breakouts, Fred, because I've been taught and trained to sell into a breakout. So if I was long 18, 19 and it broke 22, I'd be banging them out with both hands. I'd be selling and selling and selling. See, there's that seller still there. It's actually not 22, it's 22 quarter. See, the tops of these candles are all at the same level, right? Ah, I'm not a breakout trader. I don't mind buying at 18 and selling at 21. I'll do that all day. Okay, we're creeping. We're creeping. The next seller is going to be up here, 23 and change. Right? It's going to be right there. Ooh, clean that out. Oh, they came back in. Move it back down to 22 quarter. Yeah, you're right. See, now the thing is, the market really doesn't know what to do with this. We are above the interesting thing for market profile, which is kind of cool. You could see this is where the inventory was parked yesterday. This is where people got a discount at night. And you'll notice that the low of today has not taken out the cost basis of yesterday. Right? We've come down here and we've tested this area a few times. You know where VWAP is? So that's where yesterday's cost basis is. So we're in distribution now. So there, 22 down to 18, maybe 17. Let's see. Right? So if you were trading and you came in here and you saw this, you would go, oh, there's a balance right there. There's a balance zone right there. Right? A balance zone is where you're establishing a cost basis. So you'd trade from the outside in. Look above and fail 22, short down to 18, right? Look below and fail of whatever that, what is that area? 15 and something. 16 and a quarter. You'd look above and fail. I mean, look below and fail. You buy 17, sell 21. Yeah, exactly. It's got to be worth it, right? Once you see a rotation, Fred, and that's why I draw these little boxes so you guys can see the rotations. Once you see those rotations, it's helpful for you to visualize what's actually going on. Because when you first start doing this, and and I'm not everyone, it's not just me, it's everybody. You don't know what the hell's going on. So you're like you're watching and you're watching and you're watching, right? So here it didn't take out 16 and a quarter, so you could buy maybe 17, put your stop at 16, and then put some sell orders out at 19, 20, right? Would I be more short inclined if it's distribution? Only after they are finished distributing, Stuart. I don't see a short yet until we get under 15. We have to exhaust the buying over 15 in order for the people who are long over 15 to start puking it out. Know what I mean? Right now, this thing is bid 16, 17, 18 for now. The problem is because we traded the entire evening underneath 14, that's where there's a cost basis here, right? Now, how many people are long here and how many people are short? I could tell there's a good amount of people short under 14 because every time we come down close to it, the market bids, right? Pretty simple, right? 18 to 21, beautiful. I'll take 3-point trades all day, every day, you know? Now, I did one trade using the micro because I whacked out on Sudafed. But if you do it on the mini and you make 150 bucks on 3 points and you do that on 8 contracts, it's a $1,200 trade. You could trade the box back and forth twice, make your daily bread and just chill, right? Now, if we break out and crawl over 24, look for sellers at around 25. That's exactly how we prepare a trading setup. Right? So if you were in our room, Fred, which is tradingsyndicate.org, and I'll put the website in here, right? If you come into our room, that's exactly what we do. We teach you how to trade and execute a very simple business setup, which is based on common sense and using the order flow in an intelligent manner so we can get in and out of trades without losing our shirt. See, that's a look above and fail of 22 quarter. So say you short 21. The nice thing about trading the box is your risk is defined. Your risk is really there. Like, so if you're short 21 and it takes out the top of that candle, right? You're out, right? Why would you want to be short when price is going up? When the sellers are seeing buyers, that's not when you want to go short. When the sellers are seeing buyers leave the store and they're chasing them out of the store to lower price, that's when you want to go short. Right? Unfortunately, most trading educators don't help you visualize that stuff. Right? And that's a problem. See, so if I was short 21 and it took me out, that's fine. It's not a big deal. Right? You're not going to lose a hell of a lot of money. Now let's see, we looked above, we found that 24 seller. So if you hit it again, right? And you notice here, if you're paying attention, the lows are getting higher. So right now, if I got stopped out once, I don't know, I'd kind of hesitate before hitting again, and I'd want to see it do this again. Otherwise, it's probably going to do this and kind of weasel its way up to 25, right? Let's see if it can take out the bottom of this candle and this candle. Now, sometimes it gets so choppy that it's not tradable, and that's okay, and that's going to happen. If you do a trade here, you do a trade there, make a little scratch, take it easy, and then let it set up for your next trade so you don't give it all back, right? All the interest moved to silver? Hey, Al, what's going on? Yeah, the silver bugs, the gold bugs. How's gold doing this morning? Well, everybody wants to sell the top and buy the bottom, right? Ooh, look at that. There, a big order. There you go. Single prints are filled. Beautiful. Right? So who is it? Stuart. There you go. We finally trapped enough people over 15. Now let's see if we pop back over 15. If that seller is still there, then you can take a little short, right? I'll wait for the next candle to open. And if the next candle can't take out 15, you could sell a little bit, right? And then bid the market at 12 and a quarter, right? Short 2 at 14 and a half, covered them at 13 and a half. Not the greatest trade, right? You do it again, sell 14 and a half, cover 13 and a half, right? I don't want to overtrade. But if it lifts over 15, you're done, right? You got to be quick. And that's what I train. I train you guys to be quick when you come into our room. We work on it all the time, right? We work on it. And there are times when you should trade, times when you shouldn't trade, times when you just kind of chill, right? So there's some bids down here, Stuart. Remember, because the people out. Remember I said how many people are short in the overnight session? So we found the bid a couple of ticks before the close. Now, I would let them work this area out before just jumping in blindly, right? Okay, there's a seller at 15, right? Let's see if that seller continues to push price down. So say you're shorting this area, right? Your risk is pretty defined, right? If you're shorting this area and the market stays under 15, you're cool. But look at that, right? And if it takes up over VWAP, then you know your risk, right? You've got to be smart about your risk. If you are shorting a market, you can't, at all-time highs, right? You can't get greedy, because if you get too greedy, you are going to get your butt handed to you. And if you're not quick, don't trade. If you're not quick, practice on the sim and make sure you understand how the software works, and make sure you understand where to put your orders, how quickly to put your orders in, and you have to develop that. Then you trade those funded accounts, and practice on those, try to get the evaluations, right? It's a process, right? Let's see if we can break the close. Let's see if we can break the close now. What's next in this kooky thing? There's a break of the close, and we're going to come down to 10. There's 10. 10 and a quarter. Well, the longs who are trapped above 15 aren't too happy, right? So close your eyes and pretend you were trapped at 15 and above. Say you were long 22. You'd probably be liquidating, you know? Yeah, if you find that you're getting stopped out and you're hesitating or you're jumping in too early, and you're screwing around a bit, just go to the sim and practice. There is no shame in learning how to execute, right? Take your time, right? Trading is not a sprint. It is definitely a marathon. Oh. Of course you'd be sweating because you actually start because you respect your capital, right? So you're smart. If you respect your capital and you find that you're over trading, you're not doing well, of course you're not going to feel good about it, right? It's only people who are a little nuts who just trade, and lose all their dough, right? They don't care about their money. Or they've got a money tree in the back of their house. They never tell me their address, though. Right? Uh, there we go, down to 9. kind of choppy right now, and we're inside the overnight cost basis. This could be a look below and fail of 9. No, not just yet. Let's go find the bid, right? Now we've got everybody trapped long above 15. And let's see if we could get down to this 4.5, which is where that stop is in W. The lower stops are down here. Hey, Sydney. No, I use the 5 p.m. close. Excuse me. Excuse me, I was coughing. I use the 5 p.m. close. I want to know where every last contract is put before the end of the day. I'm an inventory guy, so I don't use the settlement price. 10 to 12, beautiful. The effort you put in will work out, right? It's a skill, right? Trading is a skill. Now, I don't debate whether or not to use what close, but I like to know where they put every last little contract, right? And I find that the 5 p.m. close really works well for me. Because sometimes a lot of weird things happen at that last hour after the close. This is too choppy for me right now. For some reason, I'm really short biased. Every time I have a bias, I say it out loud. The reason why I say it out loud is then I'm aware of it. So if I do take a trade, say I'm short biased, and the market starts going up, then I'll know my bias is wrong, right? But a lot of the times, the way I've lost money or made mistakes is by being biased and not recognizing it. Fred, you're going to have to join our trading room, brother. You're the only one asking questions on YouTube. Yeah, a tag off yesterday's low would be good, but we have to break the overnight low. It's kind of turning into a Fred one-on-one session. I appreciate the eagerness. Come join us for a month. I promise you'll learn more in a month with me than you will 10 years anywhere else. Now, we're in cost basis of the overnight, so it's going to be a little choppy. I only use main VWAP. I don't use standard deviations, uh, and I reference VWAP only because that's where size traders trade at. Standard deviations you could use, but I've already got a lot of crap on this chart. The less I have on the chart, the better. Yeah, get some other people asking questions. Just don't ask me about unfinished business. I will prescribe prune juice. Okay. So if you are long on a look below and fail of 9 or 6, Your next target should be just around 13. Hey, the sun came out in Liverpool. Beautiful. It's always sunny in Liverpool. Yeah, there's sellers at 12 and a quarter. Choppy, choppy, choppy. We still at A period? Dear God, this is like the longest half hour. Oof. Let's go down. I'm really curious to see what kind of bids are around 7,000 because, we haven't really. I mean, we closed above 7,000 yesterday. Was it the first time we had a 7,000 close? No, the second time. So we had 2 days now that we closed over 7,000. I don't know if that area has worked itself out yet. Let's see. Time will tell. You guys still awake in the room? Chop tends to kind of hypnotize people. Just checking. The only guy who's asking question is Fred. Freddie has probably had about 25 Red Bull and a couple of pots of coffee. He's on it. Hey, $6 million man, how you doing? Oof. See, we're right in that cost basis of the overnight, and if we get above 14 again, I wouldn't want to be short. Exactly, Alexander. Hey, you can't blame him for trying, right? You can't blame him for trying. At least he's respectful, right? That's okay. Well, we're trying. We'll see, Stuart. We're kind of laying the ground for a short trap because if enough people short here, here's the thing, Stuart. If we can't take out 7,004 and enough people shorted under yesterday's close, then we're going to lay a nice trap, right? How do you get the portion of the girls, Hex? Become a rapper or a rock star. It's probably a lot easier than trading. Hey, Mike, how you doing? News at 10. Thank you, $6 million man. Yeah, yeah, definitely. If you want girls in the Porsche and Ferrari and all that stuff, you know, be a rapper or an actor. Hex, you're like my buddy the guy that I was with when we met Bernie Madoff at that trader convention. And he asked Bernie Madoff where all the trader groupies were. Madoff felt so disrespected. He didn't even say anything. He just went and he turned and walked away from us. Oh man, I was so embarrassed. Little did I know he was the biggest fraudster in the world at the time. But oh my God, that is like my funniest Bernie Madoff story. Oh, where are all the trader groupies? I'm just trying to do a little comedy here to keep you guys distracted so you don't get chopped up. What is overnight inventory? Overnight inventory is the inventory that trades in the market between 6 p.m. Eastern Time and 9:30 p.m. 9:30 a.m. Right? So now we're chopping around here before Taco comes. Let's get back to work. Oh, news good. Maybe that'll kick something loose a little bit. Ah, Mr. Taicha, it overnight inventory is the volume and time spent in the overnight session. Inventory was short before the news came out, so the market moved higher. If inventory is long, you usually get a correction lower. If you're with us, if you look at some of the other, I've done about 400 videos on YouTube. You will see I describe it every day over and over again. Right? So right now, see, here's yesterday. Here's the overnight. Overnight inventory was short. That's why we got this move up and then down. No, but all the guys who worked in that room were my clients. I didn't get to meet Jordan. He was in jail. He was in jail when I started. That's what he was in his last days. I don't know. I don't really. You know, he's a character, but all the guys in his at Stratton Oakmont became stock promoters, and they all traded through Vancouver. There were some weird people that came out of that firm. Holy cow! Some surprisingly decent people, and then some just outright just specimens. Yeah, it's Chop City right here. So we took the W low. Let's see if we can take out that S low. We're right there. There. Took it out. Now 7,002. See, what I'm curious about is I'm curious what's lurking under here for bids. By the way, his book is a lot better than the movie. If you're into that sort of thing. His book is way better than the movie. There we go. There we go. Finally. That's what I was looking for. Beautiful. Liquidation. Now looking for 69.93. And we're to the 4 times discount zone. Those of you who are a little bit more sharper than me would have seen that the offer was moving lower after 7,012. They probably would have initiated an 8 short with like a 10 top on out. But I didn't call it out because, truth be told, I'm starting to fade again. So there's 4 times discount. So we're underneath 7,000 now. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, these markets are very, very speculative, which means just as fast as they go up, they could easily come back down because it's all speculative, fast money in these markets. So we have to really train ourselves. Now, yesterday, if we get under 69.92 and 3/4, That's going to be very telling because that's where the shorts got really trapped yesterday. Exactly, right? Very speculative. Hedgers, arbitrage. That was an interesting movie, Arbitrage. Look below and fail at the overnight low. Yeah, there we go. This is a bit of a tricky trade. I'd like to wait for the next candle to open. If I were to go long, gotta wait another 4 seconds, right? And if you can grab a long, let's see what happens in this candle. If it stays over the overnight low, watch, it's gonna come down and test it, right? And if it tests it and the offer starts to lift, you can see there's a seller at 7,000 and see? So if you buy a little here, make sure you put your sell orders out because, right? So you're long 7,000, sell the twos, make a couple of bucks, right? Little quick trade, right? The next seller, if we get past 3, the next seller is going to be right here. There, and then there, and then there, and then there, right? Grab a few points here and there. You know, scalp around, you can make 15 to 18 points a day. And if you use a little bit of size, you can really make a decent living without really hurting yourself. There, I told you the sellers would be at 4 and change. There they are, right? So yesterday, this is a cool thing about market profile, and you could apply this to charts too, to candles. Yesterday, the C low came down here, and that's where the shorts really got trapped under 93. They front ran 93 here at 94. I didn't go long here. I waited until they retook the overnight low, and then I used this to buy a few at 7,000 and sell them into the twos and the 2.5s, right? Make a couple of points, right? And that's how you should trade when you're starting out. Now, when you become, when you actually acquire some skill, you'll be able to hold trades longer. You'll be able to size, build size. All those things will come. You just want to, you know, do a little stuff with training wheels first, right? Oh. Now, let's see if we can hold the overnight low. No, I've never looked at that stuff, Archimedes. I love Chris Cady, man. He's an OG. I love his tweets. You know, brings back good memories. But I have never used that software. I don't know how to use it, number one, and I think they charge a lot of money for that software. So I've never tried it out. And honestly, you're the first person who's actually asked me that question. We had Chris Cady on our podcast. Chris is the best. Good guy. He's forgotten more about trading than most people will ever know. You know, and he's such a good guy too. He reminds me of the guys who taught me the business. Yeah, Hawkins those dudes are sharp. I mean, Hawkins, him and Stadelmeyer. I'd love to get Stadelmeyer on the podcast, but I hear he's a little, I don't know, he's not really he doesn't like to be that public. Yeah, they're true OGs. Let's see. I think we're going to test the overnight low again. Let's see. Right? It wouldn't be fair to not test it, right? Let's go make sure it's stable. And when you're building a position, right, it's okay to scalp around. That's why a lot of traders will scalp before they build a position so they can it's kind of like putting your fingers in the dirt and seeing what's really there. So if you wanted to build a long position over 7,000, right? See how it's going back and we went under the 7,000, came back above it, and now we're underneath it again. You'd kind of want to scalp this area to get a feel of the order flow before you build a large position, right? Because you don't want to go and expend a lot of capital, right? And have it go against you, right? That's why you want to kind of poke around. You know, you want to be a little nosy, right? Where's the bid? Where are you guys selling? What are you doing? What's going on? You know? You know, it's like in The Sopranos when they go, "What do you hear? What do you say?" Right? What do you hear? What do you say? You want to kind of poke around. Exactly, Alexander. As a trader, you need to do the things your parents told you for years, right? And you need to, yeah, you need to be inquisitive. You need to be a little bit of a weasel, right? It's like the people who go to the store, they look at the fruit and they start eating the fruit. And they're like, wait a minute, there's no samples. And they're like, I'm not going to buy this if I don't know what it tastes like. You know, you gotta take a sample. Oh. Now, if we can't get back over 7,000, you could definitely take a poke at this short. But you're going to see some bids here at 93, unless there's a big seller and they all run away from them. Oh, while we're waiting, going to do a quick little crypto check here. Huh. Man, these Western Digital and Seagate, look at these things go, eh? Gee whiz. How are my buddies at UEC doing? Good for them. 16 bucks. Good guys. Crab Apple, we got sellers at 261. There's all the inventories trapped above it. Short term. Short term. SLV, look at that thing go. Go, dog, go. Same with gold. Jeez, look at that. They're coming for them. ASML, what was the high? 1290. I had 1286. It looked above 1286. Look at that chart. Look at all the gaps, eh? Gap down, gap up, gap down, gap up. Very tough to trade that. Oh, Google, I forgot. Thanks, Arcroy. I forgot Google. You know, I never look at that stock for some reason. That one and Meta. And nobody ever asks me for a chart on Meta. We've had this room now for 6 years, and I have not had one person ask me for a Meta chart. I don't know. You guys don't like the guy, or you just don't like the stock, or it's curious. Let's see if we could move that point of control down here. Just him? I like his new boat. Somebody needs to make friends with him so we can get an invitation on his new boat. Have you seen his new boat? It's pretty fancy. Need to have friends with boats like that. Well, we're not getting anywhere here. We're just spinning our wheels. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a break of this. See, let me just collapse the profiles here, right? Group them together. You see right here? That's where the shorts got trapped yesterday. Let me show you why. If I go in and I put in the overnight session, you'll see there's yesterday's trading. There's the overnight session. So we had the thing run up and we came down. I'm not sure where we opened yesterday, but we came down into the cost basis of that overnight session and then boom, just rejected up. Straight up. So the shorts are trapped here. You could tell there's single prints here and there's excess here. These are single prints. This is what we call excess, right? Yeah, have a good one, Mike. So that's why I'm looking for this area to see what lies beneath. You know, what's lurking under there. So we're at 93 and 3/4 now, right? Here we go. Here we go. The moment of truth. Yeah, keep the money you made, right? Money's no good unless you can keep it. You know, there's way more things. There are way more interesting things you can do with your time that are less stressful if you're going to give all the money back, right? At least when you lose money at a casino, they give you a hotel room and a meal, tickets to a show. Here, you don't get nothing, you know? I remember the first time I went, I had this client. He was just a freak. He actually sued Johnson and Johnson and won. He was like, he would like go to court over anything. He loved going to court. Anyway, we went to Vegas and he dropped $300,000 in the MGM. And it was like one of my first times that I'd been to Vegas, and I was like, Jesus, they're going to take us into that back room and break our fingers. Next thing you know, we got suites, steak dinners, tickets to a show, chauffeured around the city. Like, this is interesting. But if you lose 300 grand trading, you don't even get, you don't even get a free meal. That's why you shouldn't gamble. If you want to gamble, go to Vegas. At least you'll get some perks for your money. Not a lot, but okay. Let's take out this 92. Come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right. See how it bids there? I wouldn't buy it though. This is speculation. So if it breaks, if we break 92, look for bids just around 69.83. Okay? Exactly. Vox, you're exactly right, brother. You hit the nail, or sister, you hit the nail on the head. There's a break. Look below and fail. We need continuation. Take those base hits, they add up. This morning this guy was saying he tries to do a couple of $100 a day. Well, that's 4 grand a month. You know, I'm not going to turn away 4 grand a month in extra income. Okay, we got a seller at 93. They're not incredibly aggressive. So remember, we're looking for, if it keeps breaking, we're going to look for it. If you're short by larger traders, 83 is your first level, and then this level right here, which is where the cost basis of yesterday was, it's going to be around 69.80. So if you are short, that's your target. Okay? That is your target. I gotta have more colors on Sierra. We only have these colors. So now we're in the 4 times discount zone. If we break 88, we'll be in the 8 times discount zone. The levels are kind of tight tonight because the overnight was so tight that I only had a 3-point balance zone, right? You could of course redo the balance zones if you wish, right? You don't have to use my levels, just as long as yours work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'll be so glad when this flu is done. 64 is down here, right down here. So let's see what we do. We found some bids for the moment. Nice work, Dak. I've actually never traded gold or silver. I've run mining deals. I mean, mining stocks for the promoters, gold stocks. My old boss did a bunch of silver deals in Mexico. I wonder how they turned out. Yeah, there's a seller at 93, ladies and gentlemen. There is a seller at 93. Any questions? Yeah, I'm definitely after this. I'm taking a dirt nap, Alexander. I think I must have slept most of the day yesterday. I did the sessions and I was out. No NyQuil needed. A little bit of size here at 90. There's the break. I have to fix my Sierra chart where they actually show the true volume. See how it went printed 11, 11, 11 at every tick? Somebody told me what the setting was for that and I forgot. I never fixed it. So there's 88. See you, Jag. Have a good one, brother. Now this is kind of price exploration. Why am I visiting the UK? Why am I because my girlfriend I met my girlfriend and she lived in London, so I came here to be with her because I didn't think it was fair to ask her to live in Saskatchewan. I think that would have been a little cruel. All those trap shorts, if we go down, they get covered, right? Measured move, I will not comment on that. Is just absolutely ridiculous. But I don't want to offend people, so I stay away from that cult. Yeah, I don't think she would have loved Little House on the Prairie Canadian style. No, they didn't cover. See, you guys know that shorts need lower prices to cover, right? And not everybody covers at the same time. Skynet, that's good, Alexander. Yeah. All right. Now we're dropping in. Where's 83 and a quarter? There we go. It's our next level down. If you're short, you can stay short. If that offer keeps moving lower, you're good to go. Offer, 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 offer. Right? Good night, John Boy. Exactly. Moran, I don't know if there are that many people who actually understand that reference. Yeah, exactly, Raj. Exactly. So remember I said, if this thing starts to fall apart, it's going to come back down to the cost basis near that overnight profile of yesterday. That's where they're going to kind of slow down. And hey, I wouldn't be surprised if we come down and tickle yesterday's low. I don't know what that is, AO. Is that like a Sherlock Holmes episode? I do like the Sherlock Holmes TV show. It's pretty cool. Oh, he didn't cause the flash crash. That poor guy. They always have to find some poor schmuck and make him the scapegoat. Nav. I feel sorry for the guy. You know, he figured out his setup and then they came and blamed him. When in real truth they had just shitty software, excuse my language. If one dude sitting in his mom's basement can crash your market, ain't much of a market, brother. Yeah, all traders are aggressive, AO. Comes with the territory, my brother. Yeah, well, large traders trade 5 to 20,000 contracts. So 1,000 really isn't that much, right? I don't know. I never believe what I read in the media. Oh, good for him. No, I don't hate the SEC at all. They're just working stiffs trying to do their job. No, I don't hate the SEC. I don't hate any of the regulators. Right? They're just there to do their job. That's it. They're just working stiffs. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for me this morning, afternoon. I want to thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Love to see you in our room at tradingsyndicate.org. Steve-O is running a sale. It's only 29 bucks a month. And you get our AI for free. Thanks, Kevin. We'll be back online tomorrow. Appreciate it. Looking for a break of this 83 quarter. Thanks, Maddox. Have a good one, everyone. Stay out of trouble. Don't take any candy from strange market makers. And I will see you all bright and early tomorrow morning at 2:30 in the morning New York time for my insomniacs and 7:30 in the morning UK time. Thanks, everyone. Mahalo, Seymour. Hey, Jeff. Hope you're staying warm in Minnesota. We'll see you guys. Have a good one.